Hey guys, it's Rick Betancourt. I have another quick tip video for you today on how to use Word to better format your novels and manuscripts. So today we're going to talk about using the Find Replace feature in Word. And it's pretty simple, but there's a couple of little tips that I'm going to share that hopefully will make it a little faster for you to make some global changes in your document. So one, we're going to talk about the replacing two spaces. A lot of times, a lot of us older folks who learned typing a long time ago would put a period and then two spaces after the period and to format your document. And we know that's now one. Also, we're going to look at replacing formatting. So for instance, if you had italics throughout your documents, scattered throughout, and you want to replace that with something else, we'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about paragraph markers. Here you'll notice that I have on my show hide paragraph formatting. So what this does is shows the non-printing characters that they won't print this way, but they will show. So for instance, here's a paragraph marker. We can see the spaces between these words. If I shut them off, this is how it will look when it's printed, but this helps you see what your formatting is. So number one, we're going to look at replacing. In this document, you'll see I sort of quickly put some junk text in here, and a couple of spots here have spaces with two spaces. You'll see those little dots. Those indicate that there's two spaces after the period, and we're going to change that globally throughout the document. So I'm going to go to the top of my document, and I'm going to do Control H, which is going to get me the Find Replace window. And you can also get it using your home and your edit, your menu bars up top. But I prefer the Control H. So Control H, we're going to find what? We're going to find a period with 1, 2 spaces, and we're going to replace that with a period and a space. And you can just do a global replace all and it'll go through and replace, which we'll do in a second. But what I want to do is to show you how it's going to find that. So I'm going to hit Find Next, and it brings me to the first instance of that in the document, and I'm going to replace that. And you'll see it changed it to 1. Now I'm just going to go through now and hit Replace All, and Word tells me that it found 3 replacements to do this and has done so. So now all of my spacing between the periods are just the 1. Now you may want to note that you would have to go through and do, for instance, if you have question marks, 2 spaces, and replace that with a question mark and a space. Or what's probably more typical is your quotes, maybe a period and a quote, space, space for dialogue. You'd want to make that period, quote, space. So you'd want to go through and replace all. We won't do that here because there's nothing in there that has such, but just as a hint to remind yourself. The other thing that we want to look at, I'm going to bring that dialog box up. Actually, first, let me go back to the top of the document, bring the dialog back up, which I just did Control H to bring the dialog back up. And you'll notice that there's this more with the tildes here. If you click that, that'll show you more things that you can search on and replace with. In here, what we can do is, I'm going back, I'm going to take out those periods and the spaces, and up here I'm going to find what? I'm going to find anything formatted with italics. Okay? And I want to replace that, say we want to replace that with formatting that's, I don't know, bold and italics, and maybe we want to make that a different font and a different font size, for instance. Or maybe this is all 12, so make it a little bit bigger. So I hit OK, so it's going to tell me here, it's going to find anything with font italics, replace it with Arial Black, 16-point bold italics. I'm going to find the next instance, and here is my italicized text, and I'm going to replace that. And you'll notice that it has replaced it with the bold Arial Black 16-point font. And you can go through and do that throughout your document. The other thing I want to show you is paragraph markers. So I'm going to clear the formatting for that, no formatting for that. And we're also going to find, and again, you can hide this, but show everything below it. That's just more information to look at. I'm going to search for paragraph markers. So if you hit this special here, you'll get all sorts of formatting that you can change. I can go through my document, look for M dashes and turn them into N dashes, etc., so forth. But here we're going to find a paragraph mark, and that's the symbol for paragraph mark. We're actually going to find two of them. So I'm going to put two of that in there. I'm going to replace it with one. And I'm going to go through my document, and if you see behind here, you'll see here there's two. If I wanted to just have the one paragraph, one hard return after each paragraph, I just go through and hit replace all, and Word has made 5 replacements and has now changed my hard returns so that they're just the one between. This one here had 3, so we would have to maybe start with the 3 and then work your way down if you have multiples, or just go through until you have none. That is a quick tip on finding replace features in Word. Hope that was helpful.